And finally, Yuri Bakan, Director of ISV Alliances Program at Cloudera. The webinar will be broadcast via voice over IP as well as teleconference. After the presentation, we will be hosting an online Q&A session. You can submit your question via the question box on the right side of your screen at any time. We will answer questions after the presentation. With that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Ben.
Great. Thanks very much, Eric. I hope you can hear me. So let me welcome everyone to the webinar today and just go through the agenda of what we'll be discussing. So first of all, it's going to be a Cloudera introduction, and Yuri will take us through a little bit about background of who Cloudera is and the offerings that they bring to the market. Secondly, we will then look at JasperSoft and give you a little bit of background of JasperSoft, the company, and our product offerings. And then we're going to talk about JasperSoft together with Cloudera and drill into some Hadoop connection techniques and the benefits with a real focus on real-time and interactive reporting, which you'll see in just a few moments how that fits into the picture and how that can be especially useful. We will get a demonstration. Asaf will walk us through a live demo of the products working together, and then we'll wrap up with the Q&A. So, as Eric mentioned, the presenters today are Yuri Buchan, myself, and Asaf. And just to give you appropriate expectations, today's webinar will do a few things. We hope to do them well, and that is explain Cloudera and how JasperSoft connect to Hadoop and visualize the data stored there, including, as I mentioned, an emphasis on the real-time aspect of the reporting analytics. Perhaps just as importantly, what today's webinar will not do is we're not going to get into explaining what big data is, and we're not going to tell you why you should be using big data. Those are interesting questions, but they're a little bit beyond the scope of today's session. We're going to build on that. If anyone's interested in more detail about big data as a general topic, there's lots of great content out there on Google and other places, including, by the way, the Cloudera website and the JasperSoft website. So we're going to just skip over that and dive into some, I think, slightly more advanced, but I hope more interesting topics today. So with that, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Yuri, and he'll take us through Cloudera's side. Yuri.
Thank you, Ben. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. So to start off, our tagline at Cloudera is all about asking bigger questions. And the reason we encourage companies and organizations to ask bigger questions is so that they can really become more information-driven, right, and become data-centric organizations. And we really strive to empower organizations to take that journey with us and to make that transformation. So from a high level, Cloudera is the leader in enterprise data management systems powered by Hadoop. This slide really provides kind of an overview of the different types of product services, different things that the company provides. But really at its core is Apache Hadoop, right? Apache Hadoop is how we got our start. It is core to the enterprise data management platform, and it really looks to fulfill kind of 4 key attributes, or provide 4 key attributes. Those are that it's managed, it's open, it's secure, and it's governed. And these key attributes really aim to provide several kind of key capabilities, from active archive, self-service BI, multi-workload management, as well as a central hub for data transformation. And today, as part of this webinar and a little bit later on, we'll be looking at specifically kind of the self-service BI aspect and the interaction between JasperSoft and Cloudera. So a little bit about Cloudera. Who are we? And a little bit about us. So the company was founded in 2008 by former employees of Oracle, Yahoo, Facebook, and Google. There's probably about 600 employees today. We follow the sun support, so 24/7 support. You'll see in the next slide that we have a global presence. So we are a global organization that support centers in North America, Europe, and Asia. And we provide support to delivery teams worldwide that can deliver on the most complex of engagements. We really look to provide a variety of different types of applications, and really from mission critical, from serving the thousands of enterprise customers in the Fortune Our university has trained over 40,000 people around the world. We really look to empower people and build their skill sets. Founders of most of the Hadoop ecosystem projects and leading contributors to all of them. So how did we get to where we are today? These are some of the kind of key events that was founded by Mike Olson, Amr Awadallah, and Jeff Hammerbacher. In 2009, Doug Cutting, who is the creator and kind of the father of Hadoop, joined Cloudera. And then I'm not going to spend going through each one of these, but really this is kind of showing the evolution of Cloudera, right, and Hadoop, right? Hadoop really started as a batch-based processing framework, but then we introduced Cloudera Manager in 2010 to address the need to be able to monitor, deploy, and configure a Hadoop cluster. Then as time moved on, we realized, right, based on the requirements of our customers and the need in the market, that the framework really had to expand beyond just batch-based processing. So in 2013, you see Cloudera Impala, Cloudera Navigator, and Cloudera Search were introducing additional products into the platform to be able to work or service different types of workloads, right? So Cloudera Impala, which we'll touch on a little bit later, is our interactive SQL query engine that allows a BI tool like Jaspersoft to be able to query data that resides within Hadoop or within Cloudera's distribution of Hadoop. And then in 2014, we launched the Enterprise Data Hub, right? So what's really interesting about this is that the Enterprise Data Hub, or some people refer to it as a data lake, is this area where you want to land all of your data. And what's funny and interesting about this is that this terminology, right, Data Hub, was not one that originated from Cloudera. It was actually one that our customers began using because they started seeing Cloudera as that data-centric and center of data, where they could land all of their data and then use a variety of different engines depending on the workloads that they needed to process. So this slide really just kind of helps show the global presence. As you see, we have presence in North America, in Europe, and in APAC. And then this is really showing the success that we've had across a variety of different verticals and industries. And, you know, the key thing here and the key thing for us as a company at Cloudera, we really gauge our success as a company by the success of our customers. This is our number one metric, right? So, you know, we really see this as the kind of true sticking point and the true metric. So we've had successful customers across industries, and we see them achieving amazing results. Some have saved millions by aligning their data with the proper infrastructure investments. Others have drastically improved their time to value on data through more efficient data processing. Many have begun to explore data in quantities and from sources that were previously inaccessible because they were in data silos or in systems that were completely independent of one another. But all of them have seen the value of thinking differently. right? All of them rely on Cloudera as their technology provider and partner in their big data journey. So this really kind of helps provide an overarching view of our ecosystem. And this ecosystem is what I was referring to earlier as the Cloudera Connect Partner Program. So there's BI and analytics partners, database partners, data integration partners, SI cloud and managed service provider partners, resellers, and then hardware partners. And really kind of the key thing here is we're really looking to provide the most extensive partner ecosystem to ensure that our customers can leverage their existing investments in tools and skills as they adopt new Hadoop technology, right? So our goal is to help you minimize disruption while delivering maximum value, right? So we understand that there's already previous investments in existing technologies, right? We want you to leverage those investments that you've already made and make it as frictionless of a process as possible. This is just, we're going to dive into a couple of different use cases from data processing, data storage, business intelligence, advanced analytics, and applications. So if we take a look first at kind of the data processing side, so YP, they had 260 million billable web traffic events and 600 million non-billable events every day. Right, so this is a large number of events, and the business was demanding that they keep 13 months of billable and 90 days of non-billable history, and this was simply not possible. So what they decided to do was offload the data from the data warehouse, which resulted in their data processing with just shrink significant new business functions. So ultimately, at the end of the day, they're able to significantly reduce the data processing from days to hours and enable new business functions. And this is kind of a really key value. On the data storage side, if we look at BlackBerry was generating about 50 to 60 terabytes of data every day. And this was only, they're only able to look at 1% of their data, right? Because their entire data set was about 100 petabytes, right? So by storing all of their data in Cloudera, they were able to analyze all of it, right? They significantly reduced the ETL processing, right? So there was a 90% ETL code reduction because rather than having to ETL a subset of the data and then analyze just that sliver, that 1%, they were able to analyze all of it, right? So with Cloudera, RIM was able to analyze all of their data versus relying on that sliver, that 1% sample, for better network capacity, trending, and management. On the business intelligence front, King, for those that aren't familiar with King is the makers of Canvas. Their challenge was that they had very limited data and limited view, right? And they really wanted to be able to analyze more data for better answers. So they captured data from about 3 billion games played by 40 million players every month. And they're leveraging Cloudera as their data hub. And by leveraging Cloudera and landing their data in the data hub, they have a much better understanding of the partners, the preferences, and the trends, which allow them to tailor the experiences and ads for the players. So they're able to refine the 40 million plus gamers experience while significantly their top line revenues by 2% from product categories. Experian is an example of a company that's leveraging it on the application side, and the challenge that they had was in building models that work for serving data at scale, right? So they really wanted to rely and analyze more data because it would provide a better application and provide them the capability for serving this data at scale. So what they were able to do is they were able to build an application which really is the first data management platform of its kind at a significant reduction in cost, right? So it's a platform that essentially provides the solution a fraction of the cost of the existing infrastructure. And so they're able to process 100 million records an hour versus previously they were processing 50 million records a day. Now this is a 50x improvement over what they were previously leveraging, and so the total cost of ownership is a fraction of their legacy environment. So this is kind of our vision of a Cloudera's Enterprise Data Hub, right? As I mentioned before, we have integrations with a variety of different ISVs to provide self-service BI, data visualization, and data exploration. JasperSoft is a great solution for that, and we'll be looking at it a little bit later. Powerful security ISVs, so there's Voltage, Data Guys, More Metrics, Gazang, that have different solutions that provide different security capabilities within the platform, advanced analytics engines, flexible deployment options, right? So you can deploy on-premise, right? So Hadoop has its roots of being deployed on commodity hardware. So you can deploy on commodity hardware, you can deploy in the cloud, you can deploy on appliances. We work with Oracle and our OEMs within their big data appliance. And there's engineered systems as well. We really are providing, because of our scale-out architecture, right, infinite analytic storage. And this significantly helps improve some of the IT operations with different ETL accelerations, EDW rationalization, and mainframe offload. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, right, about how Cloudera and the Enterprise Data Hub came into being, right? So at its roots, right, Hadoop was born to really process any kind of data in a cost-effective manner, right? So it's open source, but with this framework, with the Hadoop framework, it was very difficult to manage. So we fixed that, right? We introduced Cloudera Manager that allows you to perform monitoring, deployment, configuration of your Hadoop cluster. So it did the useful work, but there's only one way to access data, right? And that was with batch-based processing, the initial Hadoop framework. So we added some additional engines, right? We added Analytic SQL, which is Impala. We added Cloudera Search. We added Spark for machine learning or iterative analytics, as well as Spark Streaming for stream processing. And then obviously, since it's an open platform, any third-party application can also integrate within Cloudera. So once we added these different engines to process different workloads, customers really moved it into the middle, right? And it started to function as the hub for all of their data. And this is why I think the name, right, they started to referring to the data management platform as the hub. And then ultimately, right, when you move something or you define something as the hub and you really make it central to your strategy and to your data management, right? And so we added Sentry and Navigator, and this really kind of completes the picture and enables you to put data at the center of your enterprise and become an information-driven organization. So now what we'll do is we'll transition into a couple of different tools, right, or really engines that will help you better understand how JasperSoft, right, and Cloudera interact. So there's a couple of different ways that JasperSoft can interact with data that resides in Cloudera or in Cloudera's Enterprise Data Hub. One of those ways is Hive. So Hive is a SQL-like interface. It's very similar to SQL. It's almost ANSI SQL. And it provides programmatic access via JDBC or ODBC to data that resides within Hadoop. The restriction with Hive is that it spins up MapReduce jobs, right? So in the background, even though you're accessing it with SQL, since it is batch-based, it doesn't return results very fast. And so it's not very good at supporting exploration or self-service BI type of capabilities. So we saw this particular deficiency, and so we introduced Cloudera Impala. Cloudera Impala is our interactive SQL. It's built from the ground up to be massively scalable. Responses are in seconds versus minutes or hours for Hive. Anecdotally, it's about 4 to 100 times faster than Hive, and it's nearly ANSI 92 standard SQL with Hive QL. And as I was saying, it's natively massively parallel query engine, so it's purpose-built for low latency queries. Separate runtime for MapReduce, which is designed for batch processing, and it's tightly integrated with the Hadoop ecosystem, right? So it's a single system. There's no integration. It's native. There's open file formats that are compatible across the ecosystem, so there's no copying of data. It's a single metadata model, so there's no synchronization. It's a single set of hardware and system resources for better performance and lower cost. And it's integrated, so there's end-to-end security. There's no vulnerabilities. And then it's open source, right? The code is available freely on GitHub, and it's Apache licensed. So some of the benefits of Impala, right? More and faster value from big data. Previously, BI and analytic tools, their usage with Cloudera was a bit impractical, right, due to the batch nature of MapReduce and Hive. So this really helps enable more users to gain value from organizational data sets, right? It makes more data available for analysis, whether it's raw data, multi-structured data, or historical data. From a flexibility standpoint, right, it allows you to query across existing data in Hadoop, whether this data resides in HDFS or in HBase. You can access this data immediately or indirectly in its native format. And then you really have the flexibility of being able to select the best file formats. We use raw data formats when unsure of access patterns, but there are certain formats like Parquet that are optimized for Impala. And then cost efficiency. Since you don't have to move any data, you're not duplicating storage, you're not duplicating compute, and in terms of cost, it is significantly smaller than the cost of your traditional analytic database system or your data warehouse, and so you're able to really offload some of that data into something like Hadoop. And there's full fidelity of analysis. There's no loss from aggregations or from fixed schemas. And so if we do kind of a quick comparison of Impala to Hive, Hive, it's on the back end spinning up MapReduce jobs, so it uses MapReduce's execution engine. It's high latency, low throughput queries. It's fault tolerance model based on MapReduce because it's using MapReduce on the back end. It's a Java runtime for easy late binding, provides different file formats in UDFs, and then it has extensive layering, but this imposes high runtime overhead. Now, on the other hand, Impala is direct process-to-process data exchange. Think of it as like your Ferrari, right? It's super fast, right? But no fault tolerance, an execution engine that's designed for low runtime overhead. And then, as I was mentioning before, Impala's performance advantage over Hive, right? These are, not hard numbers, but anecdotal evidence. Impala can get full disk throughput. Queries that require multiple MapReduce phases in Hive see an even greater performance increase. And then queries that run against in-memory data sets can have a performance boost of almost 100 times. So this is pretty substantial. So I hope this gives folks a little bit of an overview of Cloudera, and then specifically Hive and Impala, because they are really kind of the key pieces that integrate with Jaspersoft. So at this point, I'm going to pass the ball back to Ben, and Ben is going to go ahead and present the next slides.
View. I hope that you can see it now. So I'd like to build on that and talk a little bit about Jaspersoft as a company and what we do with Cloudera and Hadoop. So first of all, JasperSoft is a commercial open source business intelligence software company. So we do reporting, analytics, dashboards, data integration. Very high growth, growing at well over 40% a year, pretty consistently. We have about 200 employees worldwide with headquarters in San Francisco, but offices in EMEA and Asia Pacific. Quite a bit of activity, over 400,000 community members, over 175,000 applications built on JasperSoft in production, lots of customers, lots of user activity. Also, we have a very strong ecosystem, very strong partnerships. We're delighted to be a member of Cloudera Connect and a close partner with Cloudera. We also have partnerships with all the leading technology companies, Amazon, Red Hat, Google, IBM, and others. We've been recognized quite a bit in the press and analyst community with Cody Awards and others. One that I think is especially interesting is this one, the InfoWorld Award. And this one we were awarded last year as Technology of the Year. We were the only business intelligence software company to be awarded with the InfoWorld Technology of the Year award, but they did have other categories, and so we shared the podium with HTML5 and the Apple iPad Mini, among others. So we consider that good company. So JasperSoft's capabilities are in several areas, reports, and ranging from pixel perfect to highly interactive, delivered through web browsers or tablets or mobile phone interfaces, dashboards, very interactive views of executive level information with multiple views of related data all presented in an integrated way. Analytics and interactive ways to view the data we'll take a look at, and data integration with extract, transform, load in order to combine data from multiple sources, including Hadoop, other big data, and relational. So our tagline is the intelligence inside. We're the intelligence inside business. What do we mean by that? We make it very easy to embed JasperSoft into applications, whether they're commercial applications shipped to customers, and examples of that are Red Hat and Tata, who build JasperSoft into products they deliver. Customer portals, where some of our customers have outward-facing portals for their customers. You see examples of that here. Cloud applications, we can be hosted either on-premises or in the cloud with Amazon and others. Internal applications, people like British Telecom, the Naval Safety Center, use JasperSoft for internal metrics. As an example, for safety and accidents, the Navy uses JasperSoft to report and analyze data. And big data analytics. We have many customers using us for big data, including some names you see here. So let's drill in a little bit about the big data side, JasperSoft, and how we're different in our access to big data and our making value from it. So first of all, JasperSoft. Okay, sorry, I hit the mute button. JasperSoft offers the broadest connectivity, and we'll take a closer look in a minute about connectivity via native connections, data virtualization and federation, and ETL for big data sources. So three different techniques for three different use cases. We'll dive into that in the coming slides. Real-time analysis for native query access, and this builds very synergistically with the Impala story to provide real-time, very fast insight to Hadoop data without the need to do batch processing or data movement. And we'll take a closer look at that and see a demo. And then self-service of big data. We make it very easy to have users provide their own customizations, in effect. We make it easy for them, for even non-technical users, to drag and drop what they want to see in their reports and analytic views, and not have to rely on IT every time they think of a new creative question, new creative way to look at the data. We provide the tools and interfaces to make it easy for them to kind of analyze themselves. Jaspersoft also is a very affordable solution, again, commercial open source, and so some analysts have done some metric benchmarks, and they've concluded that Jaspersoft can be to 80% less than traditional BI platforms and deliver significant power and capability. So very similar theme to what Yuri was explaining about Cloudera's approach of providing solutions that are very powerful but very cost effective. And lastly, the embed aspect. We make it very easy and quick to embed Jaspersoft into big data applications with things like HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, REST APIs, etc. So our goal is to make it easy to embed reporting and analytics, as it would be to embed, for example, a YouTube video in a web page. Very easy to just drop it in and include it. So our goal is to empower all users with this self-service model, ranging from pixel-perfect and interactive reports for report users that could range all the way to, for example, billing reports you would send out to your customers and just that precise, to interactive reports that internal users can use to analyze and drill in, all the way through dashboards, ad hoc reporting for business users, and even data analysis and exploration. And again, that's a very interactive, real-time use case, one that fits very well with the Impala story. So here's an example of our interactive reporting. You see highlighted in the red box here are some controls that allow the user to not only see the data in this report or multiple view environment, but they can do things like online filtering, sorting, hiding or moving columns, do conditional formatting based on exceptions that might fall outside of boundary conditions you define. You can change chart types, pies, line charts, bar charts, area charts, etc. And even export the data once you have it in an interesting view. You can export it to things like Excel or PDF or CSV, other formats to then share or do further analysis or importing. Here's an example of an interactive dashboard. As you can see, it shows everything from map-based geographic representation of the data to trending, sparse charts, scatter charts, etc., with some conditional formatting with stop lighting, red, yellow, and green, etc. And this allows you to drill down to change parameters of what time or geography or product lines or other dimensions you want to see. You can change chart types. It's all done in HTML5 visualizations for interactivity and portability to various device types for viewing. An example of ad hoc analysis. Here's an example of a scatter chart, and this gives you a browser-based drag-and-drop designer, so you can visualize the data in table or various chart formats. You can save once you have a view that you find interesting or insightful, and share that with other users. And various kinds of very easy-to-use controls. Here, for example, is our drill control that allows you to do dimensional zoom and look at the data in various ways. We'll see that in the demo coming up. Here's an embedded example. You see here that embedded in this chart, which looks nothing at all like Jaspersoft's look and feel, are parameters to select what kind of data you want to see and display it then in HTML format. So let's talk for a minute about connecting to big data. We'll go very quickly through some examples of 3 different access techniques to match your various requirements. First of all is native direct access. This is using the Jasper report server to display the information in these various formats, but connect directly to Hadoop and other data sources using either Hive for long-running reports, which has its applicability, and provides things like batch processing. Or you can use things like Impala, which allows you then to do low latency or high interactivity connection to the Hadoop data. And that's because I think Doug Henschen summed up very well, an executive editor of Information Week. Big data is really about more than just the size. It's about getting insights from the huge data sets more quickly. And that's what Impala does very well. That's what JasperSoft does very well. A second way, in addition to native access, is what we call our semantic layer. This is a way to enable self-service by putting a layer on top of the big data sources and presenting the data in a business-friendly way with more business-oriented labels and so forth to let users then, even if they're non-technical, build their own reports and visualizations. And an extension of the semantic or virtualization layer is data federation, which then allows you to combine relational sources like from Oracle or SQL Server, MySQL, and others with your big data, and you don't have to copy or move the data. You can simply access multiple data sources simultaneously. So that allows you to quickly and inexpensively combine various data sources to get more insights and visibility. And then the third aspect, the third technique, is to move and combine the data using extract, transform, and load. JasperSoft offers an ETL product that lets you connect big data, relational, and other data sources into a single data warehouse where you can do things like prove the data quality and structure the data for historic analysis, etc. So with that, what I'd like to do is turn it over to Asaf for a demo of some of these capabilities, and you can see it in person. So, Asaf.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Ben, for bringing us the context for JasperSoft. I do want to start, before I know everybody's excited to see kind of what we do with Impala and Big Data and Cloudera in general, but I want to give a quick overview at least of the major capability of those who are not familiar with JasperSoft, and just to give a quick introduction or demonstration of what you get as a general capability across all our data stores, and then I'll go in and demonstrate how we empower these capabilities directly, how it looks like with a Cloudera Hadoop distribution through Impala. So JasperSoft is, when we talk about intelligence inside, we're basically talking about a web application, a full BI platform that can manage not only showing and displaying visualization, but a full BI suite that enables you to manage users, multi-tenant organizations, and be deployed anywhere in the cloud in a lightweight fashion, so you can embed all our components I'm going to demonstrate within your application. Now, what you see here, this is a homepage of the Jasper Report server. You don't even have to know this exists. So all these components can be embedded within your application, which I will show later. And the 6 brackets here basically represent our idea of what are the 6 main components for JasperSoft for your users to interact with data. Now, the idea here that you solve basically trying to solve your use cases and speak to the different BI consumers in your organization or your customers and their level of their skill level and ability to know and interact with the data. So what we have here for the first tier for your users who are just consumers of the data, other than being just customers to your website, or employees who have little understanding of the business necessarily model to explore it and just need to get specific canned information, what we offer are our reports, which are specific unit of information that provides other charting or some tables. Now, this basically pushes data, specific data you can develop and give your users. But what is cool about JasperSoft is that when you create, so a user, while he's getting a specific report of food, this is a kind of a product sales information, apply specific input control, and then even within the report itself, apply filters on the tables, or conditional formatting on those tables, sorting, and then save the changes as his own report. So if you try to distribute a specific point of information across your organization, most likely different users will have different needs, specific needs with how to interact with your data, and this gives them the ability to customize the reports for themselves. Now, what we see here is a report, and this, as I said, is a specific unit of information, but when we're thinking about management want to see more health situation, a dashboard, and how is my business performing. So I'm going to open right now a dashboard. JASPersoft offers a very extensive dashboard capabilities that allows you to input different data sources to one location, incorporate different metrics in one holistic view for management, and makes them even print ready to be distributed in your organization. And again, due to the nature of the technology, dashboards are interactive as well. Now, assuming that your management will want to understand the data and not just look at the overall health, maybe want to understand a problem, we allow to drill into reports and get linked information from the report. Now, the reason I drill into specifically this report is that I want to show you that this is the same report I've shown just a few minutes ago, and you'll see the look and feel is completely different. The reason I'm showing you this is because the technology is meant to be embedded within your application. The ability to customize the look and feel when you develop these reports and theme it to your own look and feel is critical so your users have a seamless experience. And basically now you're seeing two very different flavors of the same report that give the same information, and you can basically customize the look and feel of your reports when you develop them using our studio to fit your application perfectly. Now, we've seen some reports, we've seen dashboards. The next level of users are the business analysts. Those are the users who understand the business model, understand the metric, understand the data, and want to be able to find insight, not just being pushed information, but identify the insights themselves. So for these type of user, what we have is what we call our Ad-Hoc Views. Our Ad-Hoc Views are basically our data exploration tools. They sit on top of our domains, which are, and I'll show those specifically with Impala in a few minutes, which are a metadata layer, abstraction layer on top of your databases. So if you have a complex, either relational or big data store, this will simplify it to business terminology, as we see here, to measures and dimensions, and allows you in an interactive way to add different values to your exploration and navigate to explore the data, whether it's by being interactive with the chart itself or with what values or how I slice and dice, the dimension I slice and dice with to find insight. And this is for more advanced users. Now, all these capabilities can be embedded, which I'll show kind of at the end of the demo, and also can work against Impala. Now I think it's a good time to kind of segue to what does Impala mean for JASPersoft. So, when we here in JASPersoft is our focus to visualize and allow businesses to find insights within their data, we set upon ourselves to allow users to interact with their data anywhere, wherever it sits, whether it's being relational systems or the new up-and-coming big data technologies. And very early on, we identified Cloudera as a key partner because they're an innovative approach to providing interfaces that will allow users to really interact with the data in a good fashion and extract that in an easy way. And to Yuri's point, and I'll show it a bit in a few minutes, like the evolution from Hive to Impala that Cloudera came up with was such a huge advancement in the way users now can interact with their huge amounts of data in their clusters. So what we have here, specifically for our demonstration of JASPersoft and Cloudera Impala, is local. This is a virtual machine that I'm running on here, very small, on my personal computer, installed a cluster of Cloudera that includes a few services. Specifically, we're looking at how right now in U, which is a service that Cloudera provides through the Cloudera Manager, that allows you to look at your Metastore Manager, for those of you familiar with Hive and how that works, and look what tables you have. So we have a fake data set of weblogs, which is a very common use case. It's about 500,000 rows, which is definitely not huge, but I'm demonstrating on a small machine. As your cluster is bigger, you can basically, the stronger your cluster, you can, all the performance is relying on Cloudera's amazing performance behind the scenes. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how we can analyze this data either through our Ad-Hoc Views or through dashboards and reports. So I want to start with a report that will sit on top of our data set. And it's basically a dashboard that will allow a user to look at how many web clicks happen in each country. So our data set includes all this information. It sits within Hadoop with Impala installed, and the table for those logs was configured in our Metastore. And now we're basically able to build a dashboard with a drill down capability that performs in near real-time speeds to bring the data back from Hadoop. Now, these speeds will work on millions and millions and billions of rows as you scale your cluster. The performance is not dependent on the Jaspersoft cluster. We will push down the query, the native HiveQL, and bring back the data in near real-time speeds. And this was basically a demonstration of how you can build such a report. And all the reports, the two reports I showed earlier, you can get to that level of visualization as well. Now, once this is how the report looks like, after I specifically already built it. But how does it actually look? People want to see in demonstration, everybody shows the shiny things. But let's look under the hood. I think it's really important. So to develop this dashboard, all we've done is, I'm just opening now our extensive reporting development tool, which is Jasper Report Studio. Within Jasper Report Studio, we can configure data adapters, which are connectivity, to almost any data store, whether it's being big data like Cassandra, almost any JDBC connection you can think of, HBase, Hive, JNDIs, or just into JSON files. Once you configure your connection, you can then go into our data set for the report. That's not the right one. I apologize for that. Data set query. And you can build, based on your connection, you can choose the relevant query language, whether it's being HiveQL, CQL for Cassandra, SQL for relational sources, PL/SQL, and QL against Impala. What I want to show you quickly right now is how, when I run it against Impala, I do refresh the data comes back within seconds. This is a relatively large data set for my small computer, but it still performs very, very well. But if I switch it to my Hive connection, and I do the same method, we can wait now for a minute at least. And that's not necessarily because Hive performs slower in the processing side, but because the nature of Hive, as you described, of the map-reduced nature, for those of you who are familiar with it, it's built for low latency. It does a few processes, a different way to extract the data, which by definition is slower than Impala. That's why we're so excited about Impala, that allows our users to interact with the data in real time. So I'm not going to keep you waiting while this is loading. I think this demonstration, this part is pretty much over. We pull the data into our map. We can do that. The result will come very fast. But let's see now how we can use our ad-hoc views against Impala and do a very exciting thing that we are very proud of in Jaspersoft here, is not only abstract the interaction with Impala, but also federate and blend data from a big data store like Hadoop to a relational system, in this case Postgres. So what I'm going to do right now, I have a local Postgres installed here with some user information that has a common ID with my Impala data store. And now I'm going to create an ad-hoc view that sits on top of a domain that we created that brings data both from my relational system and from my Impala database. When I open my domain, I'm going to be able to see all the fields that are in this domain and all my users' data, which is derived from my relational system. I'll pick all this information that I want to interact with, and then I can interact with the data using a chart, a course tab, or a table. We'll do chart for this demonstration. How are we getting all the fields? And what you'll see is that once I start interacting with the data, I can get a very interesting view of a multi-data source environment and try to find insights across my database. So if you are working with Hadoop and you have a relational system, this is the way you can do it without having to move the data using ETL. So we'll take here, what I want to see is, I want to actually look at the year. Let's add a year to our, let's use it as a field, and add our year to our columns. And I'm going to want to look at the average age. Let's add this, the age metric. And I'm going to change the sum function to average. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open our data slider and I'll see the behavior across the years. Now, what you're seeing here, let me just make it a little bit nicer. Let's move this to the rows. This interactivity, once we are actually bringing the data from Impala, which is very fast, we'll load the data results in memory, and all the subsequent interactions are going to be near real time, or real time actually. It's going to be within our memory. At this point, I can change my chart type to numerous different chart types. And see that, clearly this is a fake data set, but it does follow the logic we will think that over the years, the average age of people using the internet for these weblogs is declining. Now, clearly, of course, it's a demo data set. There's no real insight to be derived out of this. But the idea here is that you can do this with your own data and define your own matrix, and then explore, your business analyst can explore it against massive amounts of data, blend it with relational data, and find insight. So let's look a little bit under the hood here as well. I want you to just, again, see the shiny thing. Let's look at the domain. What does it mean? How do we do it? So I'm going to open right now our Omniture domain. And the first thing I'm going to do is open in our designer and show you how we can choose multiple data sources in our environment. So once you use our domain, and you look into you define your connector, you can select multiple different data sources. Specifically here, we're looking at Impala and the Omniture JDBC public, which is basically my Postgres local database. When you select your data sources, you now have a list of tables from both data sources to pick from. Now, when you picked your tables, you can perform in-memory joins on those locations. Of course, you're going to need to have some sort of a common ID, but most times you will have that, either if you move data from relational to your Hadoop as a more of a backend storage, and you maintain this relationship, or you'll do it from just other big data store that collect data across CRM systems and transaction system, but have one specific customer ID across the organization. As you define your joins, now you can define what field your user will be interacting with. Specifically here, we renamed some of those fields and made them more user-friendly. And at this point, you'll be able to basically save this and now use the Ad-Hoc Views to interact with the data. And what we've done here is, again, just we joined in memory data from a Postgres relational system and an Impala big data system, but this can be many other combinations, even two big data stores. Now to kind of close my demonstration, I want to show you, so we're talking about intelligence inside, how all this looks like in an embedded environment. So what you're seeing right now is basically a Drupal application, a web application. This is not a Jasper report server. We basically did two major things here. One, demonstrates it's a single sign-on environment. We're logging into the Drupal application, not the Jasper report server. But behind the scene, we have a single sign-on and are able to pull reports. So once I log in to my application, the first thing you'll see is that we'll have the home page open. I apologize for the internet speed. It seems to be a little slow. Hopefully the internet, I didn't lose internet right now. Let's see. I think I might have... This virtual machine might have lost internet connection. Or here we go. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Dashboard will come in here. Nothing to do with the Jasper report server. Branded a little differently, and we can embed it within your application. But because it's HTML5, you still get the interactivity of the components. So you can still play with the map and interact with the data. You can also embed the Ad-Hoc analysis tool within your application. So not only just input reports, but input your Ad-Hoc exploration tools for your business users to use. Now we are, I believe, getting short on time. We do want to leave time for questions, so I'm gonna wrap it up now. Even though my internet here is a little slow, so you might not get to see the final part. So let me open up the last part of the slides, so Ben can finish up and we can answer some questions.
Great. Thanks very much, Asaf. Yeah, that was action-packed, lots to see in a brief time. So with that, I guess I want to just share a few wrap-up slides here. One is, for those of you who want to play and experiment with Jaspersoft and running with Cloudera, here's an easy way to get started. You can download our 30-day pre-release of our 5.6 product, which will be coming very soon. Go to jaspersoft.com/geek-data, showing on your screen now, and that's an easy way to get started by it out. There's another way, which is in the next slide, you'll see briefly. You can also use Jaspersoft directly from the AWS Marketplace, and you'll see in the lower right there the URL that'll help you find that of jaspersoft.com/Amazon. And with that, you can try the product purely by the hour, starting at less than $1 an hour. Use it for as much or as little as you can make, and some experimentation that way. So with that, I'd like to flip to the Q&A slide here, and